Thank you, Chairperson. The committee.
Thank you. Agenda. Problems. Work with government. Today. kelela abafuyi bangavikela kanjani izilwane and izofasa kwi-stakeholder engagements share with immediately after sicela ne-report yasemzini yathi so that when you go to umzini at least some work side of it fanele isebenze yaccess peki okubhaliweyo esithatha ama response department and resolutions that were given specific resolutions that the officials to do. Members, is Omakanjalo agenda yethu. Today we have two parts. Let's hear light by one of travel to
colleagues. Honorable Chair, we've prepared a presentation that touch in the main on the issues that were raised by the portfolio committee mainly during the last engagement held at Umhlabi. Also, Chair, I will also update on the matters that the Chair has raised on the infrastructure. May I request that we go to slide number 4, because the first two slides are just the background. I'd like to go to the main issue that were raised by the committee on slide number 4, which is the next table on the next slide. If you can go down. Thank you, Chair. Chair, the approach is to just zoom into the issue raised and give a feedback and where are we, so that the committee will then be able to check the progress and how far are we on each issue that was raised by the committee. The first issue that was raised is the issue of the payment by farmers in terms of debt collection. In terms of the background, Chair, there are issues in terms of the transportation of sugarcane that was raised, where farmers are unable to transport the sugarcane in time. As a result, it decay on the field. The issue of sugar mills, which is Tongatuled under Peace Rescue, and the issue of Upongola mill, which then was not able to do the session. Subsequent to that, there were issues that were affecting the issue of water that affect the production, like the load shedding, the water infrastructure maintenance, and the breakdowns. And in an attempt to ensure that we do collect and there's an improvement in terms of our approach since the last meeting, we then ensure that we then redirect focuses on debt collection. We then have to appoint a revenue manager who is someone within the structure to focus on developing systems and processes for revenue collection. This included a policy that has been approved by the board on just revenue collection, in particular for marketing, but also for the provincial programs like in Tingwe and also other revenue points of the entity. This policy, in a way, we were able to issue notices in time. We issue letters of demand and final letter, which then we've seen that when we do take this action, we've seen some reaction in terms of the improvement on revenue collection. But Chair, as guided by the committee, and the board, we have not disconnected in terms of water disconnection. The water disconnection will be the last result as guided by the committee and the board. And this is, I think, those actions that we are taking are helping, beside the actual taking to go to the extent of water disconnection. And we are monitoring this, and the board will guide us in terms of the next step. But so far, we see some improvement, and there's various engagements that we are doing with the farmers, which include the office of the CEO and the board, in terms of making sure that we engage on revenue collection. The revenue report does show that if we do then remind farmers and follow up on them, it does improve. But we have not reached the desired stage in terms of where we want to be based on our target for revenue collection. So these are terms that are structural. They do assist to improve the revenue collection in Kakule marketing. The next slide, Chair. If there was an issue that was raised in terms of how long will it take to repair the infrastructure, I'm responding also to the issue that was raised by the Chair on the issue of the infrastructure. For me to report what we do on daily, I thought let's just zoom into our turnaround plan. We did report that there's a plan in place, which is a business plan that outlines short-term, long-term, as well as the mid-term in terms of what we want to do to improve the infrastructure and where we're going to get the funds. We asked where we're going to get the funds. Chair, we have identified the source of funding. There's a call for proposal that is out from the BIF, which is the Budget Facility Infrastructure under National Treasurer. We are preparing our submission. The deadline is on the 14th of July. We already started to do the submission, the proposal. Of course, got via through our department for the support once it is ready. But this is the only way that we could try to get the actual budget that will be able to help to make the scheme sustainable. To date, we did about almost $1 billion to make the scheme function because it's outdated. It needs to be automated. It breaks regularly. It is not coherent in terms of the current, even the equipment that we are repairing, they break. So we are, I think, hard at work to ensure that we raise this money. We're going to meet this deadline of the 14th for submission. But also, Chair, let me raise that the Makatini is part of the NDP. It does appear on the National Development Plan. Therefore, it can be prioritized as a strategic infrastructure for government to contribute to food security and for the province and the country. So we are positive that we'll receive favorable response in terms of the funding from the BIF. I know it's very complicated, but we are doing the best we can. The third matter, Chair, that we are updating in terms of the conflict between the farmers and landowners. In the last meeting, we did report that this matter will be escalated to the level of the board, and the board chairperson did also take up to a board meeting that was held on the 31st of May, wherein we framed the resolution that the board chair and the board deputy chairperson, Inkosi Umazibuko, he is the one who's going to lead this issue of the conflict under the Social and Ethics Committee of the board. Therefore, there's been already engagement with the trust and the farmers, and Chair can report with confidence that they are now listening. They want to sit down. They did write to us that they are willing to sit down, provided there's a mediator. Therefore, the committee did ask that the board be the mediator in terms of resolving the conflicts. We are going to then continue engaging them as the board. And the chair did ask me that I must report this matter in terms of how far he is, how far he has been communicating with Inkosi, Ukumete, and Ngosumieni, and also the chairperson of the trust. And these people are willing to talk to each other, but it's going to be a process of the facilitation in terms of actually being eye to eye on the land issues at marketing. At the moment, there are challenges in terms of communication or even collaboration amongst themselves, which affects a lot of service delivery at marketing. On item number 4, this was the issue of the conflict just amongst the farmers, and there's a plan and a strategy in place, and it's being done by the board. The issue of land claims was also raised by the committee to say ADA must play a role of a facilitator, working with Utarat and the farmers on this matter, because others on the ground at marketing, we post the meeting of the portfolio at Mhlabia Lingana. There's been another further engagement with Utarat, which is the Department of Land Reform based in the province, to discuss what happened. And they did report that and admitted that there was an error on the transfer of land at marketing. Error being done, the minister has been informed. The minister proposes an alternative land to resolve the matter than to change the land that was given to the wrong trust or wrong people. Also, our role is to engage both the DARAT and the land commissioner and the minister, and this also is led by the board and the CEO. We will continue reporting to the honorable members and the honorable chair on this matter, and we think that even though we are not a land competent entity, but the role of facilitation that we are playing will be able to result, and farmers are able to work and listen to us because we're on the ground. They have a certain degree of confidence on our capability of engaging all structures on the ground. So, Honorable Chair, this matter is also handled by other liaising with the structures that are responsible, including the Minister of DARAT. Chair, I would like to go to the next page in terms of another matter that the portfolio raised, and the Honorable Chair did raise it on her opening remarks, that we should give feedback on how are we resolving the issue of the agreement between ADA and Umkhanyakude district municipality on the water abstraction. The short background is that Umkhanyakude is using the water that is under the license of ADA for communities around Umkhanyakude to a value of about 3 million rand a year. And they've acknowledged this, but it's been more than almost 8 to 12 months. We're unable to get a signed agreement so that we can be able to recoup these funds. And there are about 7 abstraction points wherein they take the water, purify, and give communities. The portfolio advised that this matter must also be escalated to the MEC for culture. And the chair did ask me that I must report that he's engaging the MEC for culture on this matter, but he has not been able to have a meeting with the MEC. He said I must be honest that he has not taken the action that was requested by the honorable members, but he's going to ensure that he does address the matter. But also the administrator of the municipality, the chairperson, will conduct the administration so that we can be able to get to the bottom of the matter and be able to resolve the issue of Umkhanyakude. Honorable members, the issue of us maybe disconnecting the water for the communities, we made a decision at the board level that for the sake of communities and water is life, we were not able to say we are stopping the water, but for us to engage the structure of government and be able to fund each other and let them pay for the water. And that will be helping a lot in terms of our revenue, because our revenue is about 7 million. The 3 million that will come from Umkhanyakude is almost 45% of our target revenue just for water collection at Umkhanyakude. Honorable Chair, these are the matters that are pending and eminent from the committee, but out of the report, I would like to address the honorable chair and the members that the issue that was raised about the pack house has been really attended to. The pack house has been identified, it's under ADA's asset. To an extent, we are engaging in terms of being operational. We have costed is about 450,000 just to do the equipment. Since it was new, it has never been used. So we really appreciated the pressure and the guidance of the portfolio committee about the pack house that is not functional as raised by the farmers. The other infrastructure, Chair, is the nursery, which is functional, and the farmers are now accessing the seedlings produced by the department was a matter of collaboration where it will link the farmers of marketing so that they can understand what is happening in the nursery. And that nursery is part of the mega project of the department wherein they supply not only marketing but the whole province with the seedlings. And farmers now are engaging. So we're engaging the farmers, the department at this level so they understand the benefit for them at the nursery. The other chair, which was the JVAC, which is part of the Intenga Trust, the Tenga Trust, it belongs to them. So they're having plans to get an operator. All we do, we're playing a role of facilitating the issues and the problems with the farmers. And Chair, we will keep reporting all the update. But for now, we can say the issue that they brought, the committee, Honorable Chair, that have been guiding us on marketing, we've been attending them. Some are resolved, some are not, some are still under progress. I would like to thank you, Honorable Chair, and then Mbonge nama honorable members of the committee. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you for that. I have an update, Honorable Chair. What we did on the market access is also liaising with the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition through the Deputy Minister. Therefore, they were able to make a pronouncement and a commitment to assist us with market access in terms of one partnership so that they can fund us on the issues of coming up with the issue of branding and marketing of the product, because there's products in marketing. We've sought now the pack house, but from there, reaching the market beside Raset, but the branding and the actual sorting, that's where the department is coming. Through that partnership, they are committing to help us, and not only committing, but there's also tangible progress in terms of us being able to cause what is needed, and also helping by bringing their official from national to train our farmers on the branding and marketing, and so that the product could be added value without just only selling them as raw products. But also the issue of liaising with Raset. Luckily now Raset is within our department because we're an entity of the department. It's easy to liaise with Dr. Mieni, where in the issue of market opportunities, mainly in the Richards Bay, we've unlocked that one. And the second market was with the school nutrition, but also they've helped with the issue of the transport, because trucks now belong to the department. As an entity, is to get the issue of logistics, moving the product to various destinations. The challenge with the market access, Honorable Chair, is still the sugarcane. Either the pricing or the delays wherein mobile, which is a problem for our farmers. But how we've unlocked today, as I talk, Chair, this afternoon there's a meeting with the GM of Upongola, wherein we're saying we wanted staging so our farmers could get a quota at Upongola mill. They've been very difficult, only giving a quota to certain farmers which are around Upongola, not our farmers of Makhatin. That the matter that I think must be attended by us as a government to unlock the issue of Upongola mill. If that could be unlocked, 40% of the issues of sugarcane market will be solved, even though there's a future plan of the mill to marketing, but we need to sort the current issues now, Chair. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair.
Chair, thanks. One quick question, Chair. Thank you for the report and good morning, everyone. I'm worried about, I think it was slide 7, the issue of the value of water extracted by Mkhanyile. One, how do you determine the value? What do you use to actually somehow have an idea in terms of the value of the water that they should be paying for? The MOU that MOA or U, whatever it is, that has not been entertained. What are you going to do about it? Are you just going to keep on complaining to us that they are not responding, while on the other side they are extracting water that they are not paying for? And I want to believe that they are charging their customers. So in essence, uma ngabe ngesiZulu ukweba kahle kahle. Ukweba ngoba phela uma uthatha into ungayikhokheli wena kodwa bese uyayidayisa. Angazi ukuthi ungayichaza kanjani-ke. That's how I look at it. But Chair, perhaps so that I don't come back, I want to suggest that we, as the committee, we engage the district. We also engage the Department of Cooperative Governance as custodians of local government, so that we try and resolve this matter at our level as an intervention, because we can't accept that there will be people who do not have a water use right. They are extracting. There is no agreement that exists, and at the expense of the entity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mshengo. Building on the question raised by Mshengo in relation to the district municipality, Mr. Masibobo, can you quantify the losses before the interventions, before ADA took over the responsibility, and the losses after the interventions entity? The second issue relates to the funding for infrastructure development in the area. You are saying you will be applying to the BIF. The department, I think early this year, they reported to the committee that they were promised funding for agri-hubs through the same vehicle. Do you think kukhona a possibility of which National Treasury can fund one department in this MTF from one program? Inkulu imali efunwayo for agri-hub nawuzana $1 billion, and I just want to check ukuthi ama possibilities to access that by kangakanani. And also, let's say you do get a positive response. Do you have capacity to spend the funding as per the requirements of the BIF? But that's one other area that they focus on, to the institution in our capacity to spend the funding accordingly. Okay, I had a question on land claims, but do you have reference numbers of the claims on marketing, and you do, can you please share with the committee so that you are also able to make follow-ups the relevant departments?
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. If I may start with the Honorable Mshengo in terms of responding Honorable Msheng, thanks for the question. We have done the data homework in terms of quantifying the value. In fact, in each abstraction point, the municipality have put a water meter. So, and then that water meter, we have quantified based on the costing. Remember, our intention is not to make profit with this water. We know, I think it's about 33 million cubic meters that they take per year. And then we do then quantify that with the actual charge that we pay the Department of Water and Sanitation. We have the water agreement as to other with water and sanitation. We're paying, and we know how much we're paying per cubic meter. So we use that model to say we know exactly how much water they take each month, each year. Then we quantify. But the position of the board also to respond to the honorable chair, they thought that let's not go back because we thought let's go from this current financial year that is already ended. So the previous financial year, we were more like considerate to them that, okay, we'll start with as from April 2022. We had hoped that they'll cooperate, because if we go back for many years that they've been taking water that they've not been paying for. But we're going to do it because there's a resolution of the chair that let's go back and quantify for the work of the committee, that the committee will know how much. Let's say go back 5 years or 10 years, and since we took over going forward, so that we can have a bigger picture of the cost implication. Chair, with the cost we have was going forward, and our approach is to quantify using the actual rate that we are being charged by water and sanitation, because I do sign a water agreement each year. So, Chair, we're going to do that work that you've asked us. And Honorable Msheng, we do have the figures, because we do have the quantities of water that they are taking each month, because of the water meters that are available in each abstraction point, because there is very formal. They've built it, taking water from the canal, have a fence, and they do then take water from there to the community. The second question from the Honorable Msheng was the issue of the MOA, and we've been guided by the Honorable Member, Honorable Msheng, that maybe the committee will also be taking charge of this and engage the Mkanyagute. But also, we were guided in the last meeting that also the chair of the board must also talk to the MEC for quarter. May I also continue and maybe respond to some of the questions raised by the Honorable Chair? The issue of quantifying the cost, the losses before and after. I've addressed that, Honorable Chair. We had then done only for 1 year. We're going to go back and report. We are not going to wait for the meeting. We're going to submit to the committee, liaison officer, in terms of getting their report immediately within a few days from this meeting. Chair, I'm going to be honest. We are struggling to run marketing, simply not because of the capacity, because of the infrastructure. If you look at our reports, this thing is 45 years old. It's outdated. If anything breaks because of load shedding, everything shut down. Yet if it's updated, if it's up to date, if something breaks, it's only gonna shut that area. So you fix for 500,000, and then anything happen, you go back to 5 million. Loss. So to be honest, is a high risk of government to continue investing in that state. But if we stop, the people will die. At least with the we do, we see some produce, we see still green, we still people are living, and there's only thing that people are living on at Makhathini is on agriculture. We feel that we've got an obligation to soldier on and support those farmers. The capacity, Chair, we have to build capacity. When we have to face such a magnitude of the project, this ability to build capacity, but all we have is working systems and the agents. We've turned around the agents. We've redesigned the systems. We've renewed the structures. We've done piece re-engineering. It's plug and place now. If there's any project that come in, we're able to then take it and run it. We've got a clear process management system because we're a project-based entity. BFI, when it comes, will build the capacity. We'll be able to deliver on it, and we'll understand the conditions and terms. the ability or any possibility to be funded, we have to keep trying, and our only hope is one, because marketing does reflect on the national development plan, in that it could be a prioritized project. We think it's worth trying that not to, because the committee asked it. You said you need money, and there's no money in the treasury, there's no money in the department. You have to go out and try. And Chair, we're going to try. Thank you.
Yes, good morning to you and the members. The item, Honorable Chair, is by Dr. Goodwin. Director.
Good morning. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to honorable members of the committee. Greetings to the acting HOD, my benevolent colleagues. The presentation from the Chief Directorate of Services under DART in terms of updating on the disease. The purpose of the okay. I will start with just the introduction. The African horse is known as the smolia in other regions, or Isopusamahashi. In other areas, it's a highly infectious, non-contagious vector-borne disease which affects equids, amahashi, zebra, namadonki, the male, mules. The mortality rate, it's around 70 to 90%. How it contracted? It's directly from horse to horse. It's directly from horse to horse, or it is transmitted by culicoids, which are isbao or mosquito-like insects, which will be biting one horse to another horse. But if you keep horses together, like what happens in the race yards, there's no risk of transmission. The problem over mosquito-like image, which then sucks blood from one horse to another. It occurs mostly in the warm, rainy season, where midges are plentiful, and it disappears after frost. This is really Honorable Chairperson giving you background. We've lost a lot of horses, around 300 as reported, and officially around 35, which is a challenge. The reporting systems are not in place. The disease manifests in 3 ways. Corner is visual form, which is a den cough. You see clinical signs. Then there's another one which is called the heart form, where there's a swelling. As you know, a high blood pressure, also they swell in now. Swelling also in the horses, exhibited around amesho, eye sockets. Then there's a mixture of the both, where there's both the cardiac form as well as the pulmonary form. The presentation signs, or the classic signs, there will be fever around 41 degrees Celsius. They will have difficult breathing, open mouth, and hanging head to show they're in distress. They will have a frothy discharge coming from their noses. Then they will eventually die. it's reported that the mortality rate is around 90%. How do we control African horse sickness? The control disease by a legislative framework, Animal Disease Act 35 of 1984. We are supposed, the department, to respond and ensure that this disease, we prevent it from occurring. There are implementation measures which are stipulated by law. We are, however, very limited to be able to respond accordingly. The key to our response is mainly extension advisory services to get all the horse owners to be aware of what we call the issues around the horse ailments. It's not only limited to African horse sickness, Chairperson. There's also other diseases which are supposed to be controlled. There's a disease called Dorin, which is a reproductive disease where it affects the reproductive system of the horses. It's also a notifiable disease. There's also another disease called Strangles, also a controlled disease. By law, we need to also be reporting to our international partners, World Organization for Animal Health, if we do have this outbreak. And they are only reportable through state heads. We did get reports in the province around 300 horses, but that report is unofficial. The official one reported around 25, which were reported through the systems in place. The protective measures, Chairperson and the members, are very simple. You need just to bomb vaccination as a response to any other viral disease. Because as it's following the COVID-19, there are certain limitations and challenges as well in ensuring that we employ that particular strategy. We, in the year, did get the reports that there was a shortage in terms of production of the African horse sickness vaccine, which was a limiting factor. Hence, we got a lot of these horses dying in the province. The other control measures which are in place, Chairperson, it will be ensuring that you then stable your horses during the peak times of the insects. So it is recorded that the insect is very active in the morning sunset as well as in the sunrise, mid-afternoon. So your horses need to be kept in an enclosure. You also have to deploy a strategy where you put the repellents of the insects or have a fly net in the stables so that then you prevent the horses from getting to contract the disease. There is also
trying to do. I told you I'm sorry, but I can't see where you buy it.
This is correct.
okay, sorry.
That's a different.
No, it doesn't. It's the same presentation. It's just that I'm using my small catcher, which I don't have control of. Maybe I needed just to indicate slide number 2. Oh, we are in the control of the AS.
No. I'm in that slide. It's on there, but we started where
About 5 minutes. We saw the cost now, so what's the motion actually?
some silence, but it's fine.
Okay, thanks. Apologies. I thought I was just giving the very information which needs to be given to the housekeeping communities out there. It's just basics. I was just concluding on that one, the protective measures, ensuring that the horses are protected, not only vaccination. Yeah. No, thanks, Honorable Member. Apologies for that. Probably there's been some few changes which were made in aligning the slide to, but I do have this one as to respond to what the department has been doing. Probably one wanted us to compound as to what the message we want to drive out there to the horse owners. We take advantage of the electronic media as well as print media in terms of doing our awareness campaigns as indicated as the agenda item. When we take advantage of the electronic media, we then secure some slots with the radio stations. You will see in bold there is a radio station, KwaZulu, where we then secured the slot on the 14th of June to be able to speak about the disease and the control measures and challenges out there. We also are in process of securing the space with Ukozi, which is a Mrs. Lot with Ukozi, to be able to also catch or have a better catchment in terms of audience with that particular radio station. But we have formed collaborations with the other role players, your horse care unit, which is in around Templeton and taking care of the horse ailments, welfare issues around the province. We form collaborations with those. We've afforded them veterinary personnel, which we normally will get from national office every year. And we also assist in areas where necessary. They are going around the province doing our clinics on horses, and we normally form teams with them in trying to respond. We take advantage of those forums where we then still do the extension around the African horse sickness and all other ailments, also related issues. The slide depicts the planned activities in the province. Kintetwayo was a horse race in Tonjanina on the 27th of May. We were there participating, engaging with jockeys and the horse owners who had participated in that particular event. It's normally coordinated by the Department of Sport and Recreation, where we also then form collaboration and assist. We normally do pre-checks before the horses or pre-clinics before they record or they are registered for a race. So we take advantage of those congregations and still informally will then do the extension around the disease. 3rd of June, Utugela, Kasamba, there will be a horse race. We have a team which will be engaging through print media. There will be pamphlet talking about the dangers of the disease. 4th of July, an outreach clinic. The free race, we know there's a Dundee July coming on the 15th. Participate. assist the horse keepers in the province. Another challenge which has been resolved, the OPP had a challenge in terms of production of the vaccine. So they had promised that this month they should be back into production and people could still benefit. There are other big issues with that. I think the vaccine production center had been under repair. And some of the systems were not working as well, but they've since resolved those. So we are hoping, because the vaccination time for horses, it's around August to September. That is protocol, where they are getting a vaccine three weeks apart. Then you do it every year. That one. So in the previous 2 years, I think the horse keepers had a challenge of accessing that vaccine, hence these mortalities reported. The other issue we are feeling we need to improve on that one in terms of advising our horse keepers. It's just that they are not organized as the livestock associations. You know, we've made sure that we improved in making organized structures within agriculture, but the horse keepers, it's only because they have interest in that particular activity, which is communal horse racings, that we can tap into that database and be able to then do the extension accordingly. So even when they report cases, they don't go to the state vet. I think we need just to improve on that one. They report on these other sister departments, your art and culture, the NPO. Then we do at times get people who then would be also responding to the state vet. The discrepancies there is probably from what had been presented by my chief director in the previous meeting. There could be around 2,000, 2,500 horses in the communal area. 300 were reported to have died this year. But that report, we only knew about it from other forums. The formal one which we could get was reporting only 35 versus the 300. So that one is a big challenge. We will want to improve and we will want to be visible. The issues of budget have not put a bullet on that one, but we are understanding the economics of the country. While striking to also do the normal acaricide or the insect control, ticks control in livestock, we also have responsibility over these particular species like equine, amahashi. We wishing or we are exploring getting a better budget so that we could also be in the position to assist them. The key assistance we are providing, as alluded to earlier, is advisory extension. We are limited to that. Each vaccine is 480. There are 2,500 horses in the province, and those calculations, you could see how much we could be trying to secure from the department, which is a huge amount, where we feel we should just bank into PPPs, private-public partnerships, allowing the NGOs as well and other departments to provide funds so that we can all respond to this program of ensuring that the horse care,
The doctor has presented. And my worry when I was listening to you, doctor, was that you are focusing the main events by the department, and I do not see much of engaging as a department as much as it's okay to attend other forums, but I be more stronger department in leading on this aspect. Many of our partners that participate in the are not empowered to deal with general care. Some of those bayabalimaza babehlisa down instead ukuthi baba empower events so besizocela ukuthi awareness campaign landele kuphela events that iqala ama-engagements my last question, Oguchi, how many paravets do you have? Okay.
Oh, thank you. I think I'll understand Stalong ngoba sayithola kwi last meeting, but i-presentation la esithola izolo ebusuku ne-present present ihluke kakhulu isele kakhulu iningi, but ngoba sayithola last meeting kungcono. Kodwa Sihlalo, I just wanted to check ukuthi I think this question I once asked in the last meeting about other programs. Ugu is not here. Yeah, Ugu is not here. Manje, I think it means you are not even noticing that even in the last meeting I was questioning the same thing, and you come back with a program with the same challenge where there's no Ugu. And if you look at your challenge at your challenges, one of them is that of your challenges is that cases are not being reported to the local state vet offices. Definitely, it will be like that because you don't do any awareness campaigns. People doesn't know. You want them to inkomo emakhaya akazi ukuthi iyajova inkomo. Abone khona abangazazi inkomo ungabuza umuntu wasemakhaya ujina amadele akazazi. So same thing, Lana, if you don't do awareness campaigns in some places, people won't know that where they must go to. I think that is the challenge that you must try and fix. The top ones, the two top ones, the two things I try and not together. 27 May and 3 June. Did it happen? I thought you live and mention that what it happened. Or say it. Thank you, Islam.
I just wanted to confirm, is there still and you might have answered, is there still a shortage of the vaccine or there isn't? It's June now, is it available or is it not?
And maybe lastly, HOD, how much have you allocated for the interventions as African horse sickness?
Thank you, Chairperson. No, I do admit we have not been doing much in terms of responding to horses in the province. But a vehicle enough was to then not reinvent the wheel. but take advantage of the space already provided. When there's Dundee July, there's around 2,000 horses which get in there with jockeys, with horse owners coming as far as Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape, Swaziland, and Lesotho. So I think that is where we responded well in the previous 5 years, trying to communicate with the horse owners who are responsible, who will also want to make a living out of the horses, the stakes, the competition. We started from there. But to improve, as I alluded to, we do have primary animal health clinics at Dipping Tank. It is very unfortunate that there would be people who are only keeping horses and interested in just keeping horses, but not affiliating with the livestock associations on the ground, which are organized farmer groups on the ground. It's easier to do an extension when people are organized. We have found it very difficult to have them have their own association. They are only affiliating to when they want to bring their horses to these recreational activities and stuff. But we do, while we engage at dipping tank level, we've got every quarter at least 3 farmers' days. So we've allocated a slot. It's just that we are very responding to OFMD because of the nature of the disease and stuff. But with these mortalities reported, I think one just needs to improve in terms of the giving slots as well for African horse sickness during our farmers' days and inviting the horse owners as well in such. But there is a schedule for farmers' days. We just need to then improve and also add the responsible horse ownership as a slot in there. The NPO chairperson, horse care unit, when we were afforded, we've got around 16 vets which are provided by national, paid by national, but deployed in the province. We've covered all districts. We've got clinics and staff. Horse owners are also attended to. We also perform gelding, turnover mawash. These are skilled veterinarians who are deployed in the province, so they complement the vet services of the province. So we do respond to horse ailments. I did mention the disease, reproductive disease, Dorin, to prevent it from moving. Once it's wholly positive, after testing, you have to castrate it. And it's quite an involving surgery. You could lose horses. It's a very protected one. There's anesthesia, you knock it down and stuff. So we do respond and do some few geldings where there could be challenges of that particular disease. The NPO itself, we've also afforded them that particular vet to support them because they don't have a principal vet. Where they've got cases in Tugela, then we bring this complement. Our CCS, we call them community vets. They come and respond. So we're working hand in hand. We've tried to maintain that for the previous 5 years. It's working well. That is where we get these other reports from them that there are diseases or there are cases out there where we need to respond. We might be limited in terms of medication, but they do have at least a budget which they are afforded by art and culture. To take care of former horse ailments, cycle sores, lameness and stuff. So we afford them with personnel, but the remedies and things are within the NPO. But they also have limited coverage, as honorable member said. There is no mention of UKU. The reality is the paravets are the AHTs, animal health technicians, who are supposed to be seeing at least 5 deep tanks. We are overstretched. They see around 20 at some stage, around 15. So a deep tank to us we are interpreting it as a mobile clinic or a clinic, where you get to provide a service. So can you imagine if I have to provide 20 deep tanks but I'm alone. So which means the time I get to the sixth one, and if there's a disease in the first one I've seen in the last quarter, so particularly the budget, we can't have all those warm bodies on the ground. On record, they are around 141 chairperson. It's not a direct figure. I could provide that one later. Then vets, we managed to improve on that one. We could be having around 21. So each district has at least a vet. It's only Durban now with no vet. Trying to also get that to be fast-tracked. The other programs within vet services, I think we've done some recently employed some few vets in the new export and whatever export and import unit, which is stationed in Durban, take care of the consignments, the animal programs, animals and such. Honorable Chairperson, the Ugu, there's no race. In Ugu, there's no livestock sales. Definitely, when we map the province, Honorable Chair, we know there are corridors. The corridor will be okay. Thanks. ACT and Nutugela. Yes, it happened. We were there on the ground. We took advantage. We engaged the hospital there. Vaccine, Chairperson is available. It's recorded there from June, so it's on the shelves. People can buy. There's competition. There's been long-standing orders and stuff. I think it's one thing which was cited as well. Our community, they tend to be catered for last. Nice commercial houses and they take preference, private vans and stuff. But because we are organizing them, they would then make their order as a unit, not individual. Money through their structures, and then they make one order, things to make their life easy. That's I think better position. Yeah, I think I've covered the technical ones.
There's a follow-up before you.
Yes, then you start up. In fact, I just forgot the team. The team was when it's not team. I just started. Nginawo ungabe ibanga njalo makhulu ngithina nasemakhaya plus kunyama kube nemastap. Follow kodwa kube amasample blocks le order ngitele. I don't see social. I'm not checking that. What's the start of what can I see? Something if you to get try past that. What I'm seeing yeah. Well, the start is the capacity. Voting ngedwa bangizokuthi ukuthi ngoba ngedwa manje kuthina vale nga-understandeli mawuthi transport ukuthi ukuthi province yonke isibanga nawedwa nje yabona umuntu njengami but ngiyefisa ukuthi makhula ngethi kanti basemakhaya mina ngokanye emakhaya emthwalo into ezwayo emakhaya mhlawumbe I'm not different swing for, but outside the possible. Go with it. We want the message that would be to sign 3 years of police and Macadam on the team. We will be like that. Yes, eventually get him about what. And now I think for this thing, we'll do it. Now, I was saying, we'll do it, but my just to do the full job that I've done. We can't think. I suggest to think of it as a Macasi. I was listening. One of our Baba and Tony. But it doesn't say she. That was the best. So that was the best of our months to 2 years. Ngole emakhaya ukuthi ngaphandle kwekwenza awareness. Kuba batshe nanga ama-forms yajoyini esibadweni. But abakwazi ukuzifundela shona.
Well, and there's a department here. I'm covered we issue besikhuluma ngendaba disease yamahashi, but really HOD ngoba umuntu ungasho nje letha lona mahashi abantu bayahlupheka ngendaba ye-vaccine. I think manihlela ibudget yini, especially abantu basemakhaya. Imijovo nje angisho ngemijovo yey'lwane, ngaba zenkomo, zembuzi, amadibhu, ngoba because you find that ukuthi even if kukhona isifo esithile niyatshelwa nje kukhona isifo esithile kodwa kuthiwa imijovo ayikho. Nangu uDlamini angafakaza kade kukhona isifo samaqhubu esingazi ukuthi isifo sini, iy'nkomo zibe namaqhubu nani, but futhi ayikho imijovo yalokho. Kuze ihlobo nje uthola ukuthi imithi yokudibha inkomo ayikho where really ekwazi ukusiza abantu, but there's nothing that because khona abantu abangakwazi ku-afford ukuthenga umuthi wokudibha and uyadula. So-ke abasenge HOD angiqonise kuwena ngoba ngiqonise HOD ukuthi when nenza ama-allocation lokho nene kufanele nicabange lokho. Thanks.
Yebo. HOD.
No, thanks.
Ngicela ukuconfirma uthe vaccine malini 180 rands 480.
We hash a lot.
I might take twice this year, so for many a time, ubabona amahasha awusi ujoba lawa athanda kakhulu lawa amanye. Thanks. Presentation, I want to say it's not only limited, so it went among them as of state in a transmission.
Thank you. Young forever. Oh. Ngicela ukubuza mina Sihlalo, manje udokotela uyaphazanyiswa usizi lapha, kanti ngifuna angilaliseze ngosukuhluba udokotela, yabo beka kanje isandla. Yeah. Cha, ngifuna ukubuza la baba, yini uhulumeni ayenzayo given the high cost of this vaccines and other medication, I believe, zelwane, ukuthi mhlambe kube khona into uhulumeni ayenzayo eyokuthi athole leyo lama vaccines noma imithi nje elwane cheaper, ngoba even private owners zeyinkomo umuntu ekhale bambe ikhanda kumele ajove inkomo athi le mjovo iyabiza nani. Is there a thought of establishing perhaps an alternative factory or something that will manufacture these vaccines and other medication for animals. Kubuke ngathi ukujova inkomo seku more expensive than ukujova umuntu. Nange umuntu ngegcizelele ethi sekunjalo. Is there a thought around ngoba phela mhlambe into ye state pharmaceutical company igcina ingakhulumekanga kahle ngoba mhlambe kubonakala ngathi sesifuna ukuthatha umbele ebelungwini. Is there a thought around establishing a state-owned entity that is going to produce cheaply to enable even those who are poor, abanamahashi nenkomo nani, not for business purposes, but for leisure and all of that? Thank you.
Thank you, Hlala. Good morning, all. Dr. Sesizwile ukuthi uyabiza umjovo lo and akuhambeki nakahle anibaningi on the ground. Then my question is there anything like spraying imithi, like spraying of the horses mhlambe abangasizakala ngabo labo njengoba kusho ukuthi mhlambe umuntu uzothena amahasha awu12 athi hayi angingona ngihambise lawo 4 azwe emthaqweni ngoba kanje ngokubiza. Ikhona into ekhona ama sprays mhlambe enganikezwa abantu emakhaya ukuthi go for this type of a spray your horses so that these insects like an insect repellent. Thank you.
HOD.
No, thank
If busukhombe omunye ngibamnika. Bona ngathi sengiphuca abantu imic man.
not it is just on whatever Dr. Kotwane would still want to respond to, if he wanted to still respond, but I can respond to some of the questions.
With him, Doctor, do you want to come back before we give HOD? No, I'm going to
No, the other one, maybe the presentation did touch base on OBP, on the Stepford Biological Products, is state-owned. So the country is trying to respond. There are critical diseases like African horse sickness, blue tongue, because there was a challenge. So something is being made at the higher level to ensure that that particular vaccine center is capacitated to handle our demands now. It is under renovation, so we do understand they had to break certain production lines and all those things and stuff, so there will be improvement. So government is trying to respond on that, ensuring that the controlled disease indeed are covered. We also form cooperatives, livestock associations on the ground, organized structures. If you buy co-op from our wholesalers, they consider doing discounts and stuff, so which we are encouraging rather than individuals. I'm talking about primary animal health drugs at large, dewormers, tick controls, and antibiotics for ailments like tick fever, Babeza, Inyongo, Ombendeni. And the government is also trying to assist. We have a national tender, RT contract, where then you allow service providers nikwazi squeeze ukuthi charge a certain amount because this product shall be used by our government to respond to our communities and our challenges, our communities on the ground. So that one also takes care in terms of reducing our prices, making our government athenge in bulk, then akwazi ukuthi render a service efficiently kubantu bonke on the ground. Spraying, yes, it was in there. Fly repellents, it's also available on the ground. It's part of the package when we do our extension to say these are other measures. You don't only rely on vaccination, but there are other control measures like spray. We will try to take it up with RT10 because government list these particular remedies to say these are user-friendly, they can be used by communities provided by government. So I think in the next engagement for ERT contracts, we need to then also prioritize these particular remedies so that it becomes an option. But it's available on the shelves, TWK, all the co-ops and stuff. But as Honorable Member Shilo, extension. I think I'm taking a message, or we are taking a message as a department to improve on that particular one. Thank you.
You mentioned goat sickness. You are reminding me of the recent incidents in Msinga. Mafila ibhokhwe zabantu zifile eMsinga. Farmers were reporting to us, I think about 10 of them. One lost about 40. Others 15, 18, 20. Kanjalo, how have you responded to the outbreak there?
Thank you, Chair. We do get this response. I mean, these reports on the ground, but the limitations, as alluded to, we only go when a prescription. Baba Kaula, your goat is suffering from pulpy kidney. Seeing some amazinyane meyikhula alahlekelwe isini abe weak aseyaf. There is a vaccine, pulpy kidney. It's readily available on shelves. When budget was still good, we could buy it, but it's not a controlled disease. The farmer needs to buy from his own coffers. But as a demonstration, we do buy at times. So say these are good products, use them. But during tough times, when budget is a limitation, it doesn't stop from getting in there. It's 170, and your goats are your bank lako, trying to improve the livelihood yako. We do give that message as well. Unfortunately, the disease engabi reportegile will be amaplutangs. It's same caused by amacolicoids, mosquito, insect vectors, putting a virus, then a virus causing a blue tongue, as well as we're affecting claws of imbos in a gapo. Then some of them they will succumb. So after heavy rains, there will be a lot of insects. Then necessarily wave, but we need to warn them through Farmers' Days. We are likely to have this disease in the coming season. Please be cautious and ensure that you have the right stock to be able to sustain your livestock. Thank you.
Just that you can't afford to buy.
Yes, I'll confirm that. There is two ways to respond to ailments. It's a preventative medicine, which means uhlele ugadile uzigome ngama-vaccines. Makuba ne-outbreak, then a lot of livestock are affected. Esekuba khona post-outbreak treatment. If it was a virus, we struggle because the virus is not treatable. But if ukhona opportunistic infections, then we treat those. But we mentioned LSD, lumpy skin disease. Penicillin is no longer readily available for farmers, so they need to get a prescription, get it, and the whole province and other provinces were affected. So it was out of stock. So our challenge is go demand and supply issues as Singamina control or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Hlalo. Siyabonga Dr. Ngicela Hlalo through you. Last time when we were, where were we? Right. I requested from the HOD ukuthi where is the media platform? Because listening to what is being said in this house, some of the things could be prevented by simply saying, in this station at a certain period of time, there's agriculture. They are talking about this. And people will tune in either in the radio or on the TV, and they will learn a lot and what to do and what not to do. Sisizwe uyuhulumende ngoba wasinikeza ama-gadget esingawafakela amadatha. Abafaka amadatha angazi benze njani. Uma ugulela uvula la, utshele uFacebook abanye abantu ukuthi yenza ukuthi nokuthi uthathe uhlanganise uhambe wenze okunye kuphumelele. Where is the media platform for agriculture? Thank you.
Thank you, HOD.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Honorable Members, maybe if I were to just elaborate on some of the issues that were covered by Dr. Kodwan, starting with the one which was mentioned by the Chair herself, that of general empowerment of the public regarding the services that we do, especially regarding the African horse sickness. I want to couple it with what Honorable Khaliza was identifying as a gap in terms of the districts that we are going to be supporting. What Dr. Kutwan was just flagging on the plan, indeed, Honorable Chair, it's just only showing or following the events and not necessarily a program on the awareness campaign, which then exceeds only just dealing with the events, the horse racing events. And I think we do take guidance from the committee in us probably enhancing the plan, which will have to also just include all the other awareness campaigns in all the districts. Because it's not only just Ugu not reflected. I think Amajuba were also not reflected in that plan. But we are going to be enhancing the plan, Chair, so that we then cover all the districts in terms of our awareness campaigns in general. We do awareness campaigns for other diseases, especially rabies, but we'll probably just follow the same program even with this one. As far as the budgetary requirements having been addressed for this African horse sickness, Honorable Chair, in our last engagement with the team, I will be honest in saying that we had to reprioritize so that we make some allocation available for us to be able to procure the vaccines. And the team was directed to then try and look for at least 1 million rands towards the procurement of vaccines to assist in the area, but we did not have a specific budget set aside for it. What also probably compounded the challenges, Chair, was the fact in terms of the reporting, which partly as the department, I think we need to take ownership of because we had not necessarily run aggressive campaigns to our communities. But we think that R1 million will probably be able to help to alleviate the challenges that are there. The fact of the matter, Honorable Chair, is that the government fiscal envelope, Chair, it has shrinked over time. And the amount of money that we used to have is no longer there. Available, and there is a need probably for us to rethink how we deliver services, and that discussions we're currently having in terms of how do we still extend our services to our community so that they're not affected, but they still are able to get as much benefit from their government within the limited purse. That is one problem that we have. Chair, the one area that we think will use in terms of trying to stretch the rand is continue with the transversal contracts, Honorable Chair, which Dr. Kutwan was indicating. Currently, RT10 is under discussions, and that's partly why, Chair, we have had challenges procuring some of the veterinary medicines, is that the system we use in terms of buying, it was a system from the National Treasury, and they did not renew the contract on time, and it has expired. Now, it's not only just affecting our province, it's affecting all the other provinces. We can't even buy the acaricides, the dipping material, at this point because of that contract which has expired. We are now putting a system within the department to try and source the dipping chemicals within the department whilst we're still waiting for the finalization of the new national contract. But the opportunity that is provided by that contract is that we're able to then buy in bulk, source in bulk for all these medicines. If you were to go to any retail store or any of the areas which sell agricultural products, you would find, or any other cooperatives, you will find that some of the medicines are way expensive compared to the RT10 contract, as we're able to then negotiate those pricing. But we don't have that luxury at this point, Honorable Chair, in the absence of that contract. When it comes to media platforms, indeed, Honorable Kumete is correct. We had discussed this in our last session, and we are reviving some of our radio slots. We do have a radio slot within Ukhozi, and probably it will be a matter of Chair trying to prioritize topical issues within the sector, because maybe that's what we don't necessarily do. We send officials there to just talk about any other matters, but not necessarily prioritizing our program being informed by what is it that is topical within the sector, so that our people are able to get that information instantly. So instead of maybe us going to talk about vegetable production in that slot, we should then probably look at what is it that is urgently needed by our communities to be communicated, which would include the African horse sickness. So that's how we'll be planning our work moving forward, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, HOD, for those responses. HOD, I just want to remind you that at the beginning of our term, the committee took a decision that we will focus on 2 programs in the main of the department, and it was vet and research. The MEC Mloyi, in one of her budget speeches and in the committee meetings, committed that as a response to the resolution of the committee, you are now going to build capacity in the vets unit. At the time, there were a number of posts that were not filled, and we appreciated the plan to fill some of those posts within the term. But ngati akuthini kwehla kenyuka, and we do not want to write a report at the end of the term to say what was committed by the department through the budget speech of the MEC and in our committees did not happen. I looked at the Green Book. I-budget yawavet ayinyuki ngale ndlela efanele inyuke ngayo, sasikhulume ngayo. into eyenza sibe ne-focus kakhulu kwi-vet services ukuthi all these other investments that we are doing, livestock, ntonton programs, improvement, and if this unit is not strong, that will be a wasteful expenditure. Because akusho ukuthi if you are funding our communities, buying cows or stock for them, you also provide all these other things that are needed for a farmer to get to the level where we want him or her to be. Uma ingekho i-capacity kule unit, really kulokhu kwezilwane ngoba ngabe silahla imali HOD. So siyacela ukuthi before we conclude our work in this term, we get a clear response ukuthi how has this unit vet unit, how has the department over the years improved capacity so that we can respond to the needs of our communities. We are going to do the same with the research unit. The 1 million allocation, I think Doctor said they have about 2,500 or more than 2,000 horses in the province. If this million was going to be used just for a vaccine, we were going to be able to cover around 2,000 horses. But I do know ukuthi nina nizawuthatha la mali nikhokhela ama-SNT niwafake khona laphaya, nizawuthatha i-communication nifake khona kula 1 million, and all these other things that are required by the officials in the unit to go and vaccinate izongena kula 1 million. Can we agree here that this 1 million is going to be used solely for purchasing of vaccines? The rest of other things, HOD, you can find resources going in down. Honorable members, do you support that? Thank you, honorable members. All right, I think we're done with this item. We've taken long, in fact. Item number 4. Oh, okay, thank you. Over to you, Jongisa. Mr. Jongisa.
Good day, Honorable Chair and Honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. I'm going to take you through all those items, but for item 3.4, I'm going to request Mr. Lamini, who is the District Director for Zululand, to take us through the report. Sorry for that, 2.4.
Good day, Honorable Chair and Honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. My name is Mzee Lamini, here in Zululand District Office of the Department. In terms of the resolutions that were taken in 2020, there is one resolution that relates to Zululand District. We had then cooperatives which are 8, where the department gave them or leased tractors to them, and now there were problems within the members because they were charging fees, and some of the people that were supposed to pay were not paying the fees. So the resolution, that one was taken by the committee. Let's see to the next slide. We did train the cooperatives
And our training covered cooperative governance, conflict resolution, tractor maintenance, and also business management and financial management, which was done in April 2021 to July 2021. In fact, the other challenge that these cooperatives were having was breakdown of tractors, so we had to help them in training in terms of maintenance of the tractors, because though they belong to the department, but the cooperatives are responsible for running costs like repairs of tractors and paying fuel and wages for drivers. Singaqhubeka, next slide. So noma ngibuye la. Something else now with the line of Chief Director. Sorry. Chief Director. Ongifake ngingalindela. Okay. The response of the department, these 8 cooperatives were given 17 tractors. With the help of the then ward councillor, we had workshops where the farmers that were unhappy about the fees that were charged by the cooperatives were addressed. And we also assisted the cooperatives to come with a reasonable fees that they were charging, because they said they need some fees to repair tractors and to pay the drivers. So also the farmers that could not afford paying the fees for mechanization were assisted by the department, because we have a service provider, a contractor that was appointed by the department to provide mechanization services in the district. So we identified the people that could not afford to pay, and then assisted those with this service provider, which is paid by the department. Here in eDumbe, 170 hectares were done. That was in 2021, but we have been also providing the same service every year. It will depend upon the request that the farmers make. So we do. Yes. And yes, yes, Chair. But also that is on top, Chair, of the hectares that the cooperatives are doing on their own. So this one is just individuals that were assisted. Okay, there were also issues that were raised in the public engagement. There is Mr. Ngumalo from Nongoma Ward 5, who, in terms of the issue raised, he said the Land Affairs Department bought land, but the land is not in use. 2 tractors were given to them, but were later taken away. They have written a letter to the district director, Mr. Dlamini, but no assistance has been given. When we made a follow-up with Mr. Ngumalo, we discovered that he is a member of a cooperative in Nongoma, which was given 2 tractors by the department, and there were conflicts within them, such that we took a decision to take the tractors back to the office because they were no longer able to use the tractors. The name of the cooperative was Senza Kwenzeke Cooperative. The other issue, there is a farm that was bought by the Department of Land Reform and given to a group which it is not in use. We communicated with the Department of Land Reform, and we have assisted them to a business plan, because they told us what a plus linear budget of about 7 million, but there was not a business plan. So basically, business plan size submitter, land reform, a officer a Fryhead for them to when the infrastructure like fencing nokuthi bakwazi ukubanika ama equipment njengamanje ke bengakaqali I made an inquiry ngathola ukuthi bebengakaqali implementation of land reform. Another issue was from Sabelo Mthembu Ulundi Livestock Association. A follow-up was made, and we discovered that Mr. Sabelo, who is the chairperson of the Livestock Association Ulundi, isibongo sakhe kahle uButhelezi, who futhi ke ubuye abe uhlalo we-Livestock Association eZululand District. Akasebenzisi kwamanje imistake kaMthembu, kodwa ke yeah, we responded to the request of the Livestock Association Olundi ukucela ama deep tanks. There were 2 deep tanks prioritized. One at Nhlazatshe in 113, which we have constructed. Kodwa ke sazozama futhi ukulekelela nge-provision of water ngoba kube nenkinga yamanzi. We have planned to put a borehole there. And elesibili idepho lisentendeka lapha eduze nje kwedolobha Olundi Ward 7. Nakhona ibudget bese identifyiwe. I-plan fana ngaba nalo besilenzele saliqeda, kodwa when we went to a traditional authority sathola ukuthi kune-dispute phakathi kwabalimi laba abafuna idepho kanye nenkosi, ngoba inkosi ethi indawo is reserved for something else. So ke besicele ke i-department kaKhokta ukuthi isilekelele to resolve a issue of a dispute between inkosi kanye nomphakathi. Basayixoxa ke bebengakaqedi. Miss Zulu from eDumbe raised a concern over the fact that they are not given a chance to be a market in providing their produce in the schools and hospital catering. Kukhona i-process esiyenzile as department ehambisana kakhulu ne-program ka-RASET ukuthi ama-farmers who are producing vegetables are registered, kube khona i-database both farmers and cooperatives. We have that database as Sherisha no Raset. If ikhona i-produce i-office la Raset elisesidara siyalayiza nalo bese-ke organize transport kuthathwe ukudla kusuke kuleyo market abathi asiye khona. Kodwa in terms of Dumbe, oh, okay, all right. We have linked ama-farmers asedumbe with uSpar supermarket. Kukhona-ke i-service provider ephakela iy'kole nayo ethathayo la ulaba abakhiqiza ama-veg lapha eDumbe. USandile Ward 4 wacela i-assistance to be given to the youth that is interested in farming. We are providing support to projects owned by youth. Ngo-2020-21 sesize abantu abasha about 35 ukuthi sibasiza ngama-one home one garden. Kwathi ngo-21-22 baba 61 bese-ke bebe 29 ku-2023. Kodwa-ke we do engage with them. Kukhona ne-program ye-water harvesting esizama ukuyi-introduce this financial year. Kukhona uZwane Ward 6 owathi there's no water endaweni yakhe and livestock is suffering. Currently we are scooping a dam eLubandlana village Ward 6 ukuprovide amanzi for livestock. Kukhona-ke eDumbe Ward 8 uHlengiwe Vilakazi ufuna usizo. Dams need to be fixed since water does not hold, especially in winter. Request for fencing on the farms. Or this is a former councillor uSisi uHlengiwe Vilakazi Ward 8 wayekhuluma nge-project irrigation scheme. Khona-ke si-repair i-canal ukuletha amanzi engadini 1.9 kilometers. Idamu likliniwe ngoba u-engineer samthumela wase-elekelela ukuthi-ke idamu liklineke. Ne-fence wathi mayibuka u-engineer wa-report ukuthi no, it is still in good condition. Ophongolo Ward 7 is a printing error. Chair. Ngiyabona ukuthi the dam nakukhona. No, it should be the fence, Chair. Sorry for that mistake. Mr. Kumalo wayecela borehole and dams for livestock Ophongolo Ward 7. We are going to provide a borehole this financial year ePondwana through a program esibizwa nge-Communal Improvement Program. I-procurement process isiqalile, Chair. Bese kuzothi Mr. Dladla eDumbe Ward 6 naye ucela amanzi. The business plan for kusho ukuthi i-business plan for uSiyaya irrigation scheme nayo esebenzisa ama-canals was submitted to land reform by approvile for irrigation base bethi izo implemented during this financial year before the end of the year. They are waiting for a service provider. Mrs. Ngwenya becela ukulekelelwa ngokulima. We do help abantu abadinga i-mechanizations. Siyamlekelela ke uMrs Ngwenya ukuthi uma ifuna ukulima ngo-2021 nango-2022 utractors wakhe sawulima. This financial edlule ubengayicelanga ke usizo. uMr Dlamini uSiphiwe eBaqulusi, he is the chairperson of Bonsanani Cooperative esinike ogandaganda abathathu. Wekhala ngokuthi uba nenkinga ukurepair ogandaganda. Unfortunately, the department does not have a service provider to do repairs of tractors lawa akuma-communal estate noma kuma-cooperatives. What we do ukuthi sibalekelele ngokuthi ngenxa yokuthi bakhala ngama-running cost, sibanike ama-inputs njengo-fertilizer, seed nemithi yokubulala ukhula ukwehlisa ama-costs. Lokho esibenzele khona ukubhalwe lapha kule minyaka edlule. Ngicabanga ukuthi those are the issues abevelile Chair. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Mr. Dlamini. Honorable members, any comments on the report presented? Honorable Mshengu.
Thanks, man. I spoke that seven days, found ukuthi let's appreciate the intervention that Truby told in the past. About the best is never staying high. And when my excuses, I hope was noting this happened as action. But I'm worried in the mountain of Kanakanda Mabefa. Whether they are still under warranty, but the service is Kanakanda, by its nature, Kanakanda, it's very expensive. Can't expect the cooperative, let's say, some hydraulic pipe has broken down. Umuntu ulayizululela mhlawumbe local respect. It means Kanakanda would lie idle for a month or so. Besides some great demand. That hydraulic pipe and all that. So perhaps can we think along the technical services with the department to dive into angayenza ukuthi mhlawumbe abe ne-mechanic noma abe ne-service level agreement mhlawumbe with the one service provider ukuthi mangabe uhlala uphile ahamba ayo-assess so that mhlawumbe kube khona indlela la e-central la bekwazi ukuthi basizakale khona okunokuthi nanoma i-cooperative ngoba isuke inikwe ithina lekanakanda for productivity reasons. Mangabe sesithi ufile sesithathe siboneleni, I think ubashiya eze up until such time mhlawumbe le cooperative isiyazi ukuthi it's a well-to-do cooperative with a reasonable amount of profits that they are making, then they can be told within your means. You can look at the kind of, but only to find out these are still emerging people about for whatever reason. Best to I can assist you. I think the equal element you are not caring enough to assist. So I'm just urging through Chair that can there be a consideration of intervening over and above these implements that we are talking about in Bayo, and so on.
Ngicabanga ukuthi umuntu owel-placed kanye mhlawumbe it's okay. Bengicabanga cha umhlonishwa akushoyo kuyiqiniso. Ngicabanga ukuthi kuyinto kufanele sibuye ngoba it affects the whole department. Sibuye sibuke sibone ukuthi ayikho yini indlela, ikakhulukazi ngoba bakhona omakheninga emaplazini lawa e-department. Kodwa mhlawumbe into kufanele ixoxwe ibonakale ukuthi kungenza kanjani.
Egameni Dabonga Abenchiza Senwensi responding the issues that were raised by our committee. The report is noted. The ways we have a that the corners in the when it's in the other Jungisa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Greetings once more. Honorable Chair and members, let me indicate that the resolutions for Zululand and the Forum Zingat, we did get them in advance and we were able to respond appropriately. So Forum Zingati and Zululand, and I want to say, if all resolutions are quickly forwarded to the department, it makes much more easier to respond, because sometimes when we write and what is written by a secretariat or a scribe for a portfolio committee is not one and the same thing. I'm going to take you through the resolutions that were for a meeting that was held on the 7th of December 2019 in Mzingati. With respect to a community engagement in Umsinga, there were some issues that were raised. The first one that was raised, it was raised in Ward 15. It's in relation to extension advisor. That one was resolved. There was a challenge only because the Mr. Makote transferred. Then now we have Mr. Ndombela was servicing that area, so that one was resolved. Then the next issue that was raised is in relation to the quality of seed. And here we're highlighting that for the past 3 years, we've been supplying the area with the certified seed from Japan. That is 2019 up until to date. We've been supplying them with the certified seed. So the issue of quality, then I think it's resolved. The issue was raised by Mrs. Matonda, and a follow-up has been made in that respect. Then the other issue that was raised in Ward 12, it's in relation to feed. It was indicated that they were struggling to get a market, but when we visited the area to make a follow-up, it was discovered that it's not livestock, it was not captured correctly, it's a vegetable. So with respect to that department, our district, they have been able to provide the assistance in terms of production imports in that area. And also in relation to a market, they were linked to RASET programs. And we do have evidence in terms of a produce that was sold. And we didn't end there in terms of providing support. Also, we did communicate with our national department, where they have set aside a certain budget to rehabilitate irrigation scheme. But the issue of that was raised that relates to market, it was resolved. Then moving forward to Msinga in Ward 5. Okay. It says Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development provided 3,870 10 kg potatoes, 1,150 onions kg, packaging material in support of 86. Okay. All right, no. I think here there is some kind of a comical error in terms of writing. It's supposed to be 86 producers. 86 producers and not 11.
870 10 kg went to 86 producers.
Yes. I think that one is just, it's a typography error. Thank you. And then in what 5, and I'm saying there was an issue with the irrigation. They were citing that is because of a poor engine that was supplied. Then we dispatched our engineer there, and upon arriving there, he was able to advise my farmers that there is nothing wrong with the engine. They only needed to, from time to time, if water level is high, they needed to relocate it. And currently, engine is working very well. But also, we didn't end there. We continued to support those farmers because they are able to irrigate. About 300 beneficiaries have been supported with the EMA production imports in that area. There was also an issue that was raised that relates to a rebuilding of a fencing, and the advisors on the ground made a follow up to the people who raised the issue, and they were from Umviti Co-op and Mhlokoti. And upon assessment, it was discovered that there was some material that was needed that has been provided. And with Mhlokoti, it was the issue of a gate, a vehicle gate that was not in good condition. Also, again, in Ward 5, there was a request of a training around the handling of finances and the keeping of a planting equipment. Our district office, in conjunction with our national department, they did organize a workshop on crop management, and on top of that, we also conduct information days on various issues, because information days, they are much more effective more than any other training, because you learn by practicing what you are supposed to be doing. Then moving forward to the next municipality at eDumbe, there was an issue that was raised at Westbank that relates to request for fencing. That one has been resolved. Fence to emeralds were of barbed wire and 50 poles were supplied to the farmer. And we didn't end there. We continued to support the farmer with the feed, and also we facilitated market, and also we also supported the farmer with mechanization. We didn't end there. Then moving forward to a community from Ward 3, where they requested
that provided class lela endala komo noma sakhumbula kahle. Okay.
No.
It's fine, continue after.
Okay, no, thank you, Honorable Chair. But I wanted to try to attempt the question because the issue that was raised, it was around the cattle pigs request. Yes. And team, when they visited to assess in terms of what needed to be done at that point in time. So the assistance that was provided, it was in relation to the assessment that was done. But
no, we will confirm that raised the matter. I just wanted to confirm if it's the correct farm or senior kwenye indawo, ngoba it happens that the issues are raised in meetings, and when you respond to a different site, and Tina will go back to communities and say this has been done at Wazan so on. That's why I wanted to be sure that you were speaking about the same slide now.
All right, no, thank you, Honorable Chair, for that. We also supported Mr. Quinn, who raised the issue with the AMA of 55, in fact, yes. Then moving forward to, okay, moving forward to Ward 3, where they requested the land to produce some peanuts. And I think that one, district director, because they do have the office for Utar, they have forwarded that correspondence for the community in Ward 3, because it falls within their jurisdiction. Then in relation to the request for Ward 1 farmers, where they were requesting the department to assist them with the running of a farming fencing. What we've done with farmers in Ward 1, we have supported them. There is quantities that are indicated there of 60 bags of dry beans, 180 bags of fertilizer, and also we did mechanization for 20 hectares for them. And also we supported them with 4 rolls of barbed wire in that area, Londores. Then if we quickly move forward to again at Moto in Ward 5, there was a request for a school to introduce agricultural subjects, and the district director wrote a letter to the Department of Education alerting them of the request of a portfolio committee. And he also indicated the schools that are in Ward 5, which is Nomahlaga Primary, Bohlebez, Nana Combined, Begizizwe High School, Manglichana Primary. Then, and also there was the concern that as a department,
Identify and share.
So yeah, we have not yet followed up, Chair. Maybe that's the exercise that we need to do, just to follow up on the letter that was submitted to them. Because after the engagement, we then saw that it was not necessarily only within our authority, the Department of Basic Education, that can assist us to introduce agriculture as a subject within what they offer schools identified. So we then wrote a letter to them. What we need to do is to then follow up, as so we just get confirmation that they are indeed acting on the request of the portfolio.
But if I remember, the SDL did not deal with the issue of the OE offering agriculture as a subject. The communities were saying, because of the living conditions of the communities there, it would be nice to have gardens or agricultural activities inside those schools. To the extent that those gardens can even help needy families around those schools. So being a deal only with the subjects being offered or not, but having these gardens in schools because they are safe. Also Georgia and so on. I think I show Anjalo. So next time, can do the part.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for that guidance. Thank you that it will be implemented. Also, yeah, there was an issue also still in Ward 5 at Muntu, that there were concerned that we restrict our support to the youth. And also we are responding here that although we must focus on vulnerable groups, such as disabled people, women, youth, but our policy does not limit other people to apply. We do have a number of people in the main who are not youth, who are old. So we don't have a policy that is restricting people to apply. But also we must report on youth that we've supported. And in Ward 12 of Enmoto, there was Inkosi Umlife, who has 12 hectares, and he was requesting a tractor and some farming equipment. Like OHOD indicated that we are constrained by a budget here, which is going down instead of increasing. We are trying to make sure that everybody who wants to plant is able to plant. We have used the mechanization to support Unkosumlefe to plant the indicated to 12 hectares. We planted to 15 hectares on his behalf, but around Ngosumlefe also, we have made other developments in terms of providing a deep tank and also rehabilitating a dam, also fencing some kilometers. So there is a lot that is going. We are continually supporting the area with the mechanization, whilst we're not able to purchase that tractor for 15 hectares. No, yes, it's the farm, it's the area under Ingos. You are quite correct, Honorable Chair. Okay. All right, now it's the farmers under Nkosumlefe, but they were making a lot. They were visible as a department in that area. Yes. Then that was the last slide. Thank you, Honorable.
Mr. Chair, ngathi nakwezinye indawo kunganjalo. Honorable members, to comment on the report. Chief.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chongis, you mentioned something about the irrigation, but through Uhlalo, if you recall, when we were at Umsinga, if it's 2019, because we are talking about 2019, their main problem was soil erosion. We had to travel and go down and whatever, but it was horrible. I remember we even recommended the growing of certain type of a grass. That grass, or whatever, I don't know. But that problem was the major one. What have you done to that effect? Thank you.
Thank you. And also the issue around the canal. Making ezinkulu kwi-canal sigcwele udaka amanzi asangena ngendlela efanele angena ngayo. Ngathi enye issue, if I remember well, kwakuyi-access to ama-tractors. Greater, sorry, ama-tractors, greater. Ayilile so bakwazi ukungena emasimini ngena ukuthi baka-maintain ngendlela okwakuyiyona. The department promised komunye unyaka idila ne-APP nathi nizoyi-attend indaba yemigwaqo together with ADA.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members. No, I think one was responding in relation to what was captured in 2017. So the information that was captured here only relates to what one has responded to. But under my resolutions, there is also okay, no, thank you. I was saying under my next presentation. All right. No, thank you, Honorable Chair. So apologies for that. I was going to say in my response for the next presentation, there is something that is written about that I'm going to. Let me hand over to Mr.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, with regard to the issue of infield roads, we can report, Chair, that we have a yellow plant based at Makatini owned by UAD. And since that has been revived, it's able to assist in terms of the infield road, Igakule Makatini. Also, that in the yellow plant, we are sharing with the department in terms of also helping on other areas. But the plant is functional, but also with arbiters, farmer operators, people who are drivers in terms of farmer, the machinery, which is the TLB and the grader. So, Chair, that was the main issue on the infield road at Makatini because we could not fix it in time, but internally we are doing it with our yellow plant. Ngiyabonga Sihlalo. For the Honorable Chair.
No, thanks. Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. Honorable Chair, following the visit by the portfolio to the Tugera Ferry scheme, as a department, we took a decision, Honorable Chair, to then procure whether you call it yellow plant or construction plant, but it's equipment, heavy equipment that is going to be able to assist us in terms of maintaining the infill roads and the general support that we provide to farmers, including dam scoping. That equipment, Chair, has already been to the scheme. And there's, if I'm not mistaken from the report, about 7 kilometers or so of infill roads that have already been repaired as we speak. Work is continuing because the scheme is quite vast, but we'll still be able to support the scheme. We will no longer have the problem of the scheme having roads which are not maintained and waiting for any other department to assist, because we now have our own equipment which were able to assist farmers. And that's the report which I think CD Jongisa was talking about, that is still going to get to that part. But indeed, we have responded to that question, Chair. The scheme itself, Honorable Chair, and the way it's run, it will not just require just once-off intervention. But we know that the heavy rains that the scheme had gone under over the past years without any assistance in terms of rehabilitation is probably putting a strain even on us in terms of the speed at which we could be able to finalize all the works there. But we have committed ourselves that that equipment was bought purely because there was this discussion from the committee, and we are now using it, Honorable Chair, to respond to those questions. Thanks, Chair.
One of the decisions of the committee in relation to Ntateni, yes, was that ADA must come on board and assist those communities to develop a business model that will work for everyone, and ensuring that we achieve the goals of the scheme itself. How far are you in responding to that? ADA. So COO then.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Ngaliwa honest, Honorable Chair, we have not attended to this one. It could have been slept as well as something that we are capable to do. And I want to commit that, Honorable Chair, this will be our priority program in terms of capacitating the farmers on those skills. And for us, we've got internal capacity. So Honorable Chair will report on this in the next meeting. Thank you.
Now, Chair, through you. Yeah, if we can just cut and dry this issue of eTogether ferry, then I can report that on the challenges that were raised, the one was in relation to water. And to that one, we have our national department, they are working on it. The tender is on the stage of adjudication. And also there was a challenge that was raised in relation to production imports. We have been able to supply them with production imports for 40 hectares. There was an issue that was raised, which was a challenge in relation to farmers not being able to transport their produce. Around that one, National Department has assisted the project with the procurement of a buggy and a truck for them to be able to transport their produce. Then also there was an issue that was raised of a road to Oshodi has touched on that in terms of what we've done with our yellow plant. And also finally there was an issue that was raised around linking the farmers with the Oraset, which has happened, that now Oraset is assisting our farmers to be able to market their produce. I think I was going to report on the next report, but it's what we recorded in terms of the issues that were raised. Thank you. No, Honorable Chair, one will have to find the exact date in terms of that information. Yes. All right. Now, and again, Honorable Chair, because one prepared this report, this is the first report, then one will have to make a follow-up in terms of what happened in the previous term.
Yes, actually. I think we're done with the speaking thematic. Take 2.6. How many resolutions are there? 15. 6.
I'm not too sure. We received a very long list, but we're just trying to pick. All right, now thank you, Honorable Chair. Now, like I indicated, that it really assists a lot when maybe one gets those resolutions in time, so that you are able to come to the portfolio committee with the precise information. But we've tried all our level best to, within a short period of time, to respond to some of the issues that were done in 2019. The difficult that is that you must take information, because you'll find that district director is no longer there, deputy director is no longer there, the advisor was part is no longer there. But we tried to get the relevant information. The first resolution that was still not finalized is resolution 18 of 2019. It deals with Mrs. Zolo from Msinga, complained about tractors that were taken away from them to repairs but never returned, and says the department must report back on that one to the committee. And the information that we are providing today is that the communal estates, they remain the assets of the government. And when we understand that there is some kind of misuse or there will be underutilization, those tractors are taken back. But the department currently is in a stage of winding up the program. Those communal states that are performing very well, then a decision will be taken. But the issue of communal estates, because when people see government tractors with the red number plates being used, they assume that it's the department that is operating them. So we're going to wind it up. But the issue of Mrs. Zolo that was raised, the tractors, it was discovered that Mrs. Zolo also is a member of a co-op that is being supported by AMA cooperatives and by our national department, and they have 6 tractors. And there's other tractors that were taken. It was the resolution of a district seeing their use there. Then that is that's how we've responded in this resolution, because already there are some tractors that are there to provide the assistance to Mrs. Zol. Then if one quickly moves to the second resolution, the second resolution, it relates to, it's a resolution 19. It's a resolution 19 of 2019. Again, it's Honorable Chair. No, I don't want to mislead the committee.
It's saying that that to
My effort there wants to come in on that one.
With the law.
you say what the honorable say. Yes, what?
Yes, I did say that. Let me just try to explain that one. So when I came to act here, I was aware about this. There's the resolutions for Umsinga and for they were forwarded. I do have them with me. Unlike these other ones where you still need time to go through. That's what I was saying. Yeah, that is what I said, the Honorable Chair.
side. Yes, indeed. HOD, your last comments on the 3 items that were dealt with.
No, thanks, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, maybe on the first one, the African horse sickness, we will be beefing up or enhancing the plan following the guidance that we've received. We've started communicating with the team already as we are seated here so that we start building a much more stronger plan, which will then deal with all the communities, not just only those who are horse riders. On the 2 other ones, for Zululand and Umzinyati, Honorable Chair, this is obviously work that we're done with these communities, and we are also going to be following up, Honorable Chair, especially if there were any other outstanding issues or if these communities are still receiving services, because the other disjuncture could be they might have received service then, and we are reporting such in this meeting, but there is still probably an expectation from our communities that the services that they've received, they would still require some more assistance. So we would, as the team, be going back so that we make sure that they are still taken care of in terms of making sure that all these services are still provided to a point where the farmers are then able to be handed over to the next level, because most of them is not necessarily just once-off assistance, as it were. Thanks, Honorable Chair.
Any other thing except purchasing of Honorable Member? HOD?
Yeah, no, thanks, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. I think that's partly why Honorable Chair was making that statement that we would probably have to also go back to all these communities just to make sure that we've covered all areas and they no longer require any further assistance. Because some of them, yes, a once-off assistance with feed, but you still need to just make sure that that support was sufficient to then carry them through. They are not going to be coming back. But as for where there are farmers that we've supported that can now stand on their own, I would say yes, Honorable Chair, there are farmers that government has supported. The only challenge could be that any farmer, if there is going to be government support, it will never be enough. They'll never say they are satisfied with some of the services that were given. If you look at most of the projects, especially in this current term that we have funded and which we are showcasing in our last meeting with the honorable members, you will appreciate that most of those projects are trying to venture into a commercial space and at scale. And those projects, in our view, most of them have been supported sufficiently. And obviously, if some of those farmers were to be asked whether they've been supported sufficiently or not, they would still probably say no. But if you look at the support that they've received versus any other small-scale farmer, the support is probably sufficient for them to be able to then carry through the business, as it were. and maybe it's just a matter of requesting that such projects probably be visited so that we are able to showcase some of those projects with some sustainable agricultural propositions. Thanks, Chair.
We have resolved that on Makhathini Research Center, we are going to engage the district municipality as the committee, as well as a committee and the department and Department of Water and Sanitation, deal with the issues of arrangements in that part of ADA. In our next meeting, they will be giving us a feedback, resolution, intervention by ADA, as well as a issue of the losses prior ADA arrival in Makhathini. Now with their interventions, HOD has covered the issues around nurses, up their plans, especially around awareness, so ensuring that there are enough resources allocated. That is HOD in our next meeting will be expecting your full complement senior managers at you want a full presentation since the decision was taken by the has been happening over the years and what are the plans for the future resource allocation. Research unit, same thing. In our next thing will be to add items of science if there's any that is due in July. Add that item, but we want to spend enough time and zooming in Lama units the of the to the house. Thank you very much, honorable colleagues. Announcing the report on stakeholder engagements, we'll be arranging sessions at the community that raised this issue so that the back. Team, you at the first site. Leyo yokuqala, and in the meantime you can help yourself. There are refreshments outside as you are that there are other people that are remaining behind. Sorry, honorable, so Right, manje bayekelani baphume. Strategy to update. My apologies. My apologies. Ithe ngapha isakhuluma nje la sakhuluma. Right? Yazwakala. HOD, my apologies, colleagues. I was misled. I was under the impression that briefing will be done by our own officials in terms of where we are going, but Inina that are going to lead your activity. Can we get the report? Mr. Chongisa, ngathi babheke kuwena. Oh, Mr. Dlamini, sorry. Okay. Yes, Mr. Dlamini. No, eDumbe sweet home.
Agree.
2 million, the initial one, was it for the infrastructure? 2 million. 1.7. Done by department or you transfer monies? I see, yes, okay. Sizozibonela khona masenzakala nomfowethu masifika laphayana baba sizobe silalela wena ukuthi uthini. Bayaphelezela nje ama-officials loma nawe umnikazi womsebenzi abakwaziwana ngithi uthi abakwaziwana abantu nabo laba. Okay, I guess release. Honorable members, can I suggest that we only deal with the benchmarking report? The rest we will try and find time, in the morning, to deal with the minutes and a progress. It won't even the AOP. It won't take. Oh, you need adoption today. Late. Late. Wawungekho fanele ngabe ubakhona emeeting. Sasingayazi phela thina yona. Azange usho. Yes. The topic here to this term, we are focusing on projects